everybody. I am Kirk Kogel. I am an American living in Shanghai, China. I have been here since 2015. It's been an absolutely great time, and as an American here, I am still very much connected to my home country, and that includes how I waste my time on YouTube. Just like I did in America, just how like a ton of people do. And so yeah, I watch a lot of YouTube when I'm here. I've been noticing a really interesting and disturbing trend on YouTube. It started a few years ago and it's gotten really bad and horribly toxic in the last year or two. Really bad within the last year. And that is channels on YouTube lying about China, basically. They in some cases, it's exaggeration, mild exaggeration, sometimes, very serious exaggeration, often, hyperbole, very often, and outright lying. And it's just, it's so bad, it's so blatant that it's funny. I mean, when I started watching these channels, they would talk about some topic, some bad thing that happened in China in a different city. I'm in Shanghai, like I said. They would talk about some bad thing that happened in a different city, and I'd be like, "Oh, that sucks. Oh, these people, they're having some hard times," or "Oh, this shop had a problem," and or this car caught on fire. I don't know, whatever it is. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, well that sucks. I'm glad that's sucks for them. I'm sorry for them. I'm glad that's not me." And then I started seeing a bunch of videos come out about Shanghai, and that's when I knew. That's when the light bulb went off, and I was like, "You guys are full of shit. You guys are just outright lying." And so I got into some comment debates with some people on some of these channels. I think I've been banned from one of the channels that I'm about to show you in terms of comments. Like, YouTube creators can ban you from posting comments or replying to comments. So I think that happened because I was like, in the comments I was typing like, "Guys, this stuff they're saying is not true." And then I had people, calling me a Wu Mao, which means, that I somehow work for the Chinese government and I'm just a propagandist. I was just like, give me a break, you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna show you some of the stuff that I'm talking about. There are so many videos that are just full of crap. I have my screen right behind me. I'll flip it around in just a moment. There are so many videos that are full of crap. I would like to go in depth on each one by one. That would take a long time. So for this first video, I'm just gonna give you guys an overview. And then later on I can get, if I have time, I can get into these things in more detail. And, this here is China Observer. And this is probably the most egregious of all of the channels. And before I start debunking them, I want you guys to just look. This is just a list of their videos. I want you guys to look at all of the headlines, the titles of the videos, and then the big yellow and red and white text they have. And I just want you to think about it. Just think about it. Remember when you were in school, everybody, at least in my school, we always had, at some point, teachers say, like, "Oh, don't automatically trust people, don't automatically trust what you see on TV, don't automatically trust what you see on the internet, be a critical thinker." I'd like you guys to be critical thinkers right here. Even before I take this camera out and go around the city, because I'll do that, even before I do that, I just want you to be critical thinkers and look at what this channel is doing. And you tell me if it even looks realistic, or if they're trying, like if they have some kind of agenda, which is probably to just get clicks and money, okay? But take a look at this. Urban villages demolished, workers' paradise gone, triple typhoons battered Guangdong, unprecedented devastation, elderly begin to resist, 80 million stop paying, Chinese awaken, 741 protests sweep China. Yeah, I haven't even seen one. China apocalypse. Fires sweep China like crazy. Fires are raging like madness in Shanghai. That one was actually really funny. Hong Kong is finished. China's richest city, imminent total collapse. Here's a whole video about Shanghai. This one made me laugh my ass off. Let's see. China's real estate doomed, price collapse or financial crisis. Okay, now I'll be straight with you guys. There are some things that I don't know and I don't have authority to speak on. I do not have economic data. I do not have experiences outside of Shanghai for the most part. So if there's something that they say and I can't prove that they're wrong, I won't try and debunk it. I won't claim that they're lying about that. Okay? However, when I do see them lying and I can prove it to you, and I do see them lying and I know that they're lying, then you look at the rest of the channel and you think about it. Like, if they're lying about some things, why should you believe them about everything else? Okay? Dongguan is finished. China's EVs burn 20 billion, boom built on scams. And there's a fire of a car. I don't know what brand that is. Sure, I'll believe it. It's a Chinese brand. People have done that about Teslas a bunch. Their Teslas do catch on fire sometimes, but overall it's pretty rare. They're doing the same thing here. Even if it's a higher percentage of Chinese cars that catch on fire, it's still exceedingly low, right? Let's see. China's economy is done, 40-year boom over. Urgently sells properties at a 30% discount. Oh yeah, I didn't finish talking about that. Back to the price collapse one. Yeah, there's a nugget of truth to this. My wife just sold, so my wife and I bought a home. And it's under construction in Shanghai. And yes, it's true. The prices have gone down a little bit. Like, I think, from 2 years ago to today, there was a 10% drop, which means it was a good time for us to buy. So we did. My wife had to sell her small apartment to help us get the down payment for it. But then when you watch this video, they get ridiculous with it. Okay. 2.6 trillion yuan vanished in just 3 years. Bitter days ahead. Whole nation is in debt. 460,000 businesses closed. China's economy collapsing unseen. Man. Okay. China's economic stumbling. Economy completely collapsing. Guys, you do this yourself. The channel's called China Observer. Look at everything they're doing. These guys are in no way serious journalists. It's true they don't claim to be, but still, obviously these guys are not on the straight and level. They're out here, at best, they're out here to get clicks. And I don't know if you're a conspiracy theorist. I'm not, but maybe you could be. Maybe you might believe that they are funded by somebody or some government that wants to weaken China in some way. I don't know. I actually don't believe that. I think they're out for the money. But 500 supermarkets closed. Bullshit. I haven't seen one close in Shanghai. Not one. Okay. There's another one about like how the what do you call it? The docks, the shipping docks are all empty and there's no more traffic, truck traffic going to those. Absolutely like crap. The highways, and I don't have time to do it today, but the highways are clogged full of these shipping container trucks going to and from the ports still. Nonsense. Okay? I live here. At least in the place that I live, again, I'm not gonna lie and say I know everything about all over China, but I know that these guys lie when they talk about Shanghai. And like I said, that's when I realized I knew they were lying. And then it makes me question everything else that they say. Okay, so that's the most egregious one. There is another channel that I think is, it's so similar. I think it's like almost the same team that makes it. And in fact, here's the other one. China Insights, 579 videos. China Observer, 580 videos. So, when I looked at this last time, it was 579, 579. So they seem to run in tandem with each other. And probably this one will upload another one very soon about the same topic. I think they are the same team. These guys claim to be serious journalists. If you look at their about page, it says, the content on this channel is produced by a team independent of any government or legacy media, including former China National Television CCTV reporters, veteran editors of North American media, and colleagues in Asia. Some of us are longtime experts on China issues. We are committed to showing our audience the real stories of Red China and its extensive and far-reaching impact on other countries. We would also review what ancient China has offered the world. Okay, these guys claim to be serious. They claim to be a team of reporters, media, They don't use the word journalist, but it seems like that's what they're claiming to be. And they basically do the same thing. In China, what's worse than poverty? 32 floors burned in 10 minutes. Oh no, there was a fire. Okay. Unemployment up to 80%? Question mark. Nice covering your ass there. Okay. Let's see. No foreigners at Shanghai Expo. Visits fall by 90%. Property giant collapsing. Bank explosion. Don't go. Don't return to China. 1.5 million rich Chinese are crying. Martial law. 100,000 lives. Oh my God. Here we go. Another one where I know they're lying. Shanghai, unprecedented depression. Sure. I'm going to go to lunch soon, and you tell me if it looks like there's a depression. Okay. So anyways, I'm sure people are going to watch this, and they're going to find things in these videos that are true. That will probably happen. There are nuggets of truth in these videos. Okay, there might be things that are fully true. I don't know. Like I said, I know what I know in Shanghai where I live, and whenever they talk about like almost all the shops are closed and people are lying on the street in poverty, that's a bunch of crap. Okay, and then when I see that, it makes me not trust the rest of the channel and anything else. And if these guys care about integrity, they'll stop it, right? So that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to shine a light on them. Anybody who watches this stuff, they're gonna think that China is a desolate wasteland. They're gonna think that China is a hellhole, that it sucks to live here. Nobody should ever go to China. It couldn't be farther from the truth. I've been here since 2015. I have the best life I have ever had. I am the richest I have ever been in my life. I drive my dream car. I live in a nice apartment. My wife and I just bought a home. We're sending our daughter to a private kindergarten soon. Like, you know, it doesn't, the reality does not jive with these videos, or it's probably the other way around, right? These videos do not jive with real life here. Okay, again, my disclaimer, it's what I know in Shanghai, sure. But they say the same thing about Shanghai. They say that Shanghai is also finished and economically depressed. Bunch of crap. Quickly, there's other channels. There's many other channels. Business Basics is also pretty bad. They're slightly better because at least they hate everyone, not just China. they hate Russia. They say everything's horrible in like civil war starting in Russia, panic in China. They hate England. The UK is collapsing? Question mark. So they're at least they're an equal opportunity hater, I guess. And then there's this last one, which really makes me sad. Because these are two guys that I used to really respect. They're Serpent ZA and Sea Milk, and I've met them. They are part of the reason why I moved to China. I saw their videos. I like them. I moved to China. Maybe almost half of the reason why I went to China was because of them. And I met them. I've been to their subscriber meetups. I'm probably in a few of their videos in the background, walking around whenever they had a video about a subscriber meetup. They did a lot of cool stuff about China. But ever since they left China, they've been very similar, not as egregiously bad when it comes to outright lying, but they've been completely anti-China. And I'll give you one example to show you what I'm talking about and why I'm disappointed in them. They claim to not hate China. They claim to love China. They claim to only hate the government. If that's true, why are they doing stuff like this? Let's see, is the camera looking at it well enough? China's elevators are a death trap. Okay. China's elevators are a death trap. You do not want to be taking elevators in China, and in today's episode, we explain why. This is laughable. This is, okay, what they do is they show some real things that happened. There were some faulty elevators. There was some bad maintenance. In a country this big, that happens. By the way, it happens everywhere. You want to say that it happens more as a higher percentage in China? Okay, fine. But guess what? There's probably 2 billion elevator rides, at least, that happen every single day in this country. I am in an elevator a dozen times every single day in China. That's like, what they're doing is similar to saying, look, an airplane crashed. You do not want to be flying airplanes on this planet, and in today's episode, we will tell you why. Well, you're right. You found a nugget of truth. You found a crashed airplane. There have been multiple crashes throughout airplane history. It's true. Okay? Yes, there are some events that happened with some bad elevators. But then the headline, China's elevators are a death trap, and the subheading, you do not want to be taking elevators in China. It's fear-mongering. They're now doing the same thing that China Observer, China Insights, Business Basics, and all the other people are doing. They're fear-mongering, and it's their job now. It's how they make money now. And it's sad. It's sad. I met these guys. I've shaken their hands. I don't know. They probably don't remember me. But it's sad what this has become. They are always talking about integrity and honesty, and then they do this. And guys, if you're watching, maybe I'm still kind of honored, right? But think about it. You think about the logic of what you're doing, right? You see an airplane crash, and then you tell everybody don't fly airplanes. You see an elevator accident in China. You see multiple. Fine. But it's still a phenomenally low percentage of problems that occur. Even if you found 1,000 instances over the last few years, it's still a phenomenally low percentage. Like I said, a few billion elevator rides in China every day, probably. I'd take elevators a dozen times every day. I'm a fat guy. I don't do stairs, right? It's just full of crap. Okay, so what I'm gonna do next, I'll show you that I'm a real guy. I'm a real guy. I work for a small company here in Shanghai. I'll show you around my office. I'll show you what we do really quickly. It's empty right now. Nobody else is here right now because I'm here before our normal business hours. And it's almost lunchtime. After that, I'll hook the camera up to my car, and then I'll take you guys out for lunch. You guys will join me for lunch. I'm gonna go to a common everyday man kind of restaurant. Well, kind of. It's still foreign food, so most people in China will not eat it, but it is budget foreign food. It's the kind of foreign food that people can go to if they don't want to spend a lot of money. Okay, and I'll show you this mall. I did another video. You guys could probably see my other video where I went to a mall in a slightly more populated part of the city, still not close to downtown at all. And I had some people, my point of my video was trying to debunk China Observer, because China Observer was saying all the malls were dead. And I said, okay, fine, I'll take my camera and I'll walk around the mall, and I'll show you that it's not dead. Because in the video in China Observer, they were showing footage during the lockdown. Last year's lockdown, Shanghai was closed for 2 months. That was true. They took footage from that time, and then they portrayed it as being today, and they said all the malls are dead. And I walked around the mall. It was busy. There were a lot of people. And then I had people in the comments saying, oh, it's not as busy as it should be. And then I had other people saying, like, oh, you're in the main mall of the city, go to the outskirts. I am in the outskirts, okay? I am in Pudong. I am in a place called Waigaoqiao, okay? It's not, or I'm very close to Waigaoqiao. Waigaoqiao, it means like one of the outer places, okay? I'm gonna show you the area right around my home and my office. My home and my office are about 5 minutes away from each other by car. There's a mall that I go to all the time for food. It is a small mall, and there's 2 of them right next to each other. I'm going to show you that. I'm going to drive around the area, just around my home and my office, just a few kilometers, like of a, what do you call it, radius, or a few kilometers diameter even. And there is probably more economic activity happening in this outer part of Shanghai than in any medium size, than any medium size city that you could find in North America or Europe. There's just so much going on. Shanghai is not dead. And when I see these videos saying that Shanghai is dead, and then they say that other cities in China are dead, it makes me not want to believe them. Yeah, I don't have time to go out to those other cities. I don't have time to go out to those other cities. But if these channels are lying about Shanghai, the odds are they're probably lying about the other cities too, or exaggerating, or engaging in hyperbole. Like I said, they take nuggets of truth, and then they say, they see one shop closed, or here's something more realistic. They get an interview, they see a clip of somebody talking into a camera, a Chinese citizen. Maybe she lost her job and she's crying. And then they take that, and then they take like 3 more of those, and they stitch them together, and they say, well, that's everybody in China. Everybody in China lost their jobs. Everybody in China is suffering. Yeah, this goes back to what you learned in school. Don't trust everything you see on the internet. I'm sure those are real interviews. Those are real people. I'm sorry they lost their jobs. Okay? But you can do that. You can find that in every country. In the richest cities, you can find people who have lost their jobs and made little TikTok videos, talking about how hard life is. And life is hard. All over the world right now, life is a bit hard. But on the whole, things are still happening. Economic activity is still happening. And it's massively happening here in Shanghai still. My company is growing. We just opened up a new office location. We have new clients. We're hiring. My boss is trying to find people to work for us. We need foreigners, Americans, Canadians, British people, South Africans, New Zealand, Australia, those countries. And it's hard to find them in part because of all of this stupid fear mongering that's happening online. Very few foreigners want to come here anymore. By the way, if you do come here, you are able to demand a much higher salary because it's hard to find people like you if you're qualified. But anyways, let's head out to lunch.